Well, good morning, everybody, or good evening if you're in New Zealand or Australia. Morning in South Africa, middle of the night in America.
Hello.
I have no idea who's in the middle of it. Yeah, great to have you here, Gloria. Welcome back to Gloria Masters, who's one of our brave overcomers from New Zealand and who's been on the show a few times prior to this. So welcome, Gloria. How are you?
Yes, great. Thank you so much. I'm either getting older or time is going quicker because it's blink and it will be the halfway through the year. So, it's all happening. But yeah, it's great time to be
insane.
Alive.
Yeah, it's a wonderful time to be alive. I mean, we were just having a little off-air chat now. It really is a wonderful time to be alive. Very, very interesting indeed. Lots going on in the world all over.
Yes.
And but how have you been? You've been on a few other shows. You've been doing a lot of things. So let's have a little catch up and see how Gloria has been doing.
Oh, thank you, darling. Hey, hi everyone. Great to see everyone again. And look, I will never give up. I'm just never going to give up. Trying to advocate for beautiful adult survivors or overcomers, as Shanti calls you, if you've experienced child sexual abuse. But equally, I'm being drawn more and more and called to talk about trafficking of children, because this is the biggest global earner there is. And it's frightening what's actually happening in that space. And, children and teenagers are kind of, the abuse is on the rise, even though we talk about it more. So what are your thoughts about that?
Well, I agree that I think it's on the rise, but I think that might be for a couple of reasons, which I think one of the main reasons, in my opinion, would be because I think people are getting desperate. I also think, if I just look back to when Aquarius Rising Africa began, which is about 2.5 years ago now, that we first started this channel, and with Jessie Zabota being our first guest. And since then, we've always just had the overcomers, etc., speaking, and still do. And what I've noticed from then till now, there's definitely a huge amount of people that have awoken to this very sinister agenda that we've been obviously subjected to for a very long time. So I think there's that. And I think also it's maybe a lot more in our face now because we're also so conscious and aware of it. We're aware of what's happening at schools. And yes, I mean, there's certainly an onslaught at our schools, like when we're looking at this whole push towards transgenderism and what's happening in the schools and how our schools are being sexualized in all of, the kids rather, So there's a lot there. But I also say, I don't know if you watched my drop-in with Ara last week, but I spoke about the little 6-year-old that was giving oral to a boy while the teacher was present and somebody was filming this, It horrifies me that this is, I mean, when I was 6 years old, I don't know what I was thinking, but it certainly wasn't anywhere close to giving a boy oral. That's for sure, So the point is that, but this has been going on for a long time. If we are looking at just let's look at the Britney Spears of the world, Christina Aguilera, all of those teen idols from the 90s and even the 80s, Brooke Shields, that crowd. There's a lot of, it's been building up for a long time. Yes. That this whole sexualizing of our kids has been, we've been under siege for a long time. You go back to movies, Pretty Baby, Brooke Shields, she was a child prostitute in the movie. And that was then, and I mean, there were, what was that other one? Gosh, from Yay Gone Yonder years ago.
Yeah, I know.
This has always been, our kids have always been, look at the advertising. How much marketing and advertising is aimed at kids? Because they know that if they can get to the kids, then the kids will convince the parents to buy them or get them or do whatever. Because right now, parents are very busy, too busy. That's the problem. Our world has become too busy. We're not connected anymore. And this is half the problem, in my opinion. When we start strengthening the family unit again, and when we start homeschooling our kids again, when we start taking notice of what our kids' emotional needs are, and we as the family unit fulfill that, we're going to have a very different world that we're living in. But yes, absolutely. In the meantime, there's a lot of kids that we are needing to look out for, and we're in a very tumultuous stage on our planet.
Well, at the moment, we know that in the last 12 months, there's been a 700% increase in pedophiles targeting children online. So, for instance, the innocent little games that kids are playing on their little iPads or Game Boys or whatever are actually, someone behind them is actually watching the children and targeting them through the game. And it might be a little 8-year-old boy is asked, "Oh, can you show me your chest?" And the child shows the chest, and a photo might be taken, and then that is used to say, well, if you don't let me, if you don't take a photo of yourself in the nude, I'm going to show this to the whole school and tell your parents. So there's they call it sextortion, Shanti, and that is growing exponentially. So there's a lot happening out there for our children and young people. So I guess one of the reasons I wanted to come back on was to just say to you, look, part of what my campaign is this year is to provide a hand signal for under 16s to use when they are being abused or threatened. And
I think that is such a brilliant idea, for people to have something like that, and for us to, use these hand symbols, because it really is so valuable. And the more of us who know what they are, we can obviously do a lot of good in that
100%.
way.
Yep. And I think what we know is, to be honest, as you know, I was sex trafficked for 16 years. If I had the option of a hand signal with safe adults around me, I would have used it. And
absolutely.
And so I think I've had people say, but wouldn't that just call attention to the child or the teenager? My point is that worse than doing nothing? Surely to God, we have to take a responsibility. So I'm launching a Global Awareness Day on Friday, June 16. And on that day at 5:30 a.m. New Zealand time, that signal will go live. And what we've trialled it on children as young as 3 and up to teenagers, and it works, and they're comfortable and they're competent with using it. But as well as that, on that day, and maybe bring up that image if you like, that first one about the Global Awareness Day with the hand signal. I think Morné's got it there. There you go. Thank you. And on that day, what we have is a a launch of the hand signal. It's a very simple, straightforward little signal that children can use, and it will be live on the channel, on my YouTube channel, Handing the Shame Back, and it will also be on websites and all our social media platforms. As part of that global awareness, sorry, were you going to say something?
I just wanted to know, if we have links for all your platforms, if we can just put them in the description section or in the chat section as well, just for people to be able to tune in.
Sure.
And because I think this is so important,
100%.
really is.
So Morné will have a look, but I'm pretty sure you've got all my links. And then
Yes.
the other thing, Chantelle, that's happening on that day, which is so exciting, is on that day, and I think, Morné, if you're okay to bring up the next image, thank you. We've got, as part of that day, we're having a global walk, Shanti. So wherever you are, from your beautiful home, at 10 a.m. on the Saturday, grab a pet, grab a friend, grab a partner, grab whoever you want, and take a photo, tag us in at Handing the Shame Back, and we're going to have a slideshow going throughout that 24-hour period.
Oh, wow. That is such a great idea.
Thank you.
So just wherever in the world you are, whatever 10 a.m. is for you.
10 a.m. is for you. Yes.
Grab your bestie, grab your pet, grab your mum, grab your dad, grab your spouse, and just walk for the kids.
Walk for the kids. Just walk.
Yeah.
And so what we're doing is we're doing that. We're also giving a nod to our beautiful adult survivors, because this is the first global awareness day that's ever been launched solely for survivors, or as you would say, overcomers. So I'm very proud of that. And during that, that's fine. Thank you, Morné. During that, we are also going to be asking on our social for that 24-hour period for you to swap out your logo for ours. And we've got our little heart-shaped logo. You can see it on all our social media platforms. But we're just handing the shame back. We're just saying, hey, just for 24 hours, can we globally acknowledge our beautiful survivors? And
yeah, absolutely. I think that's a fantastic idea.
So that's what we're up to, baby. So Friday, 16th of June is our Global Awareness Day. We just got a few initiatives in place, and we're just asking everyone to join us, and we will continue to keep supporting and providing resource and support for all the fabulous adults who have experienced child sexual abuse.
Wow. I think that is an amazing initiative, and we will definitely spread the news far and wide. We can put this on our social media platforms as well.
Thank you. There is a third image, Shanti, which may show us more clearly if Morné is happy to put that up for us, please. And that shows you our beautiful little logo, which we're just asking. So you see that if you look at what we're asking everyone to join us in, you see on the right that little heart. On that day, simply swap your logo for ours. And it's just, yeah. So that's what's happening. That's
so cool.
Thank you.
That's so cool.
We need to honour those among us who have experienced this, and it's time for people's heads to be held high and for them to have the respect and the love they've always deserved. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Great initiative. Wow. We will certainly be putting that on our platform. So Global Awareness Day on 16th June, that's when you're going to be launching your hand signal for kids that are under 16 who are in trouble. And so I think it's so important that the more of us who actually know what this signal is, we can, be aware, and just to share this information far and wide. I mean, this is so important. And then I love on the 17th, awareness walk at 10 a.m. wherever in the world you are. Grab your bestie, grab your partner, grab your dog, grab your cat, whatever
you
just
want.
walk for the kids.
And it's only 30 minutes, and it's just a way for us to commune and join and share the love and the light that's
absolutely
around us.
It's just like just a sense of unification and camaraderie, and I 100%. Think that's a great idea. So and on what day would we swap the logo? What day is that?
The Global Awareness Day is the 16th. So the Friday the 16th. Whenever you wake up, go onto your social media platforms and just swap it out just for that day.
Okay. All right. So that's the 16th.
Yep. We've only made the walk. We've only made the walk the next day because it's a Saturday, you see, and everyone can do it on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if it was the Friday, people are working and they just can't do it. So, but yeah, it's all there. We've also managed to get some amazing T-shirts designed and printed that we'll be sharing as well. So, look, lots happening, big initiatives. People are saying, why are you doing it? And I'm saying, why not?
Exactly.
Why not me?
That's amazing. Yes, Linda, grab the cat. Put a harness on the cat. I've seen that before. That's funny. When I was actually integrating my little one, and she was a wild little feral, I had to have her on a harness when I took her outside. She loved that little harness eventually, all pink and like sparkly.
Oh, that's so cute. That's so cute.
Yeah.
Do you have any sort of anything that you're seeing emerging, Shanti, that you want to kind of look at while I'm here tonight? Anything you're noticing?
Well, well, I was actually going to ask you about what's happening in New Zealand, actually. What is happening in New Zealand?
So what is happening is on Sunday night, we had our mainstream media, government-owned TV channel, do a little documentary on slavery, including sex trafficking. And so that is very big for our country because it's never, ever talked about or exposed to the light. So that went up on Sunday night. They spent about 20 minutes on it. But what they found was, no surprise to you or your audience probably, is that these girls and women that were being trafficked were not in the sex trade industry. They were just being trafficked, coerced, and controlled to be trafficked. And so the people that were doing this were making a lot of money out of them. And this, of course, goes on all throughout our country and has for many years. As you know, I was trafficked for over 10 years and my father made a lot of money out of me. The point being, it's time for this all to be exposed so that we can shine light on it and help protect those that are being subjected to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, what you were saying about New Zealand is amazing, that they actually, mainstream media is actually starting to cotton onto this. And I think, even though we're always a little bit suspicious about mainstream media and what their agendas are, I think what's really important is that even if it is the Brotherhood that's putting the information out there just to kind of breadcrumb people or whatever it is, it doesn't really matter. Fact is, there's an awareness being created, and the general public, who's generally been so hypnotized by what they see on TV and what they read in the newspaper, that they are now actually getting some different news, and it's a reality check. If TV says it, it must be true, right? So that's kind of like what I see. So I think it's actually a good thing. Even if they are just the gatekeepers, it's still creating awareness for people, and it's still creating an understanding that this kind of stuff is happening, and it's not just a conspiracy theory anymore.
Well, 100%. And no, I agree with you. I think it's a great point you raise. And also, one of the perpetrators, there were 3 men that were convicted. Yeah. The 3 men got community service for raping a 15-year-old girl. Now, shall I tell you why they got community service? Because they were high, upstanding citizens of our country. Their reparation was to do 100 hours community service and pay the victim $1,000. One of the perpetrators was a pastor. I know, you're horrified and shocked. No, you're not.
What? A pastor? What a surprise.
What a sacre bleu. No. So, so there you go. So on the one hand, isn't it great it's all being exposed? On the other hand, 3 men over the age of 50, raped a vulnerable 15-year-old girl, paid money to the person that trafficked her to rape her, and got community service.
I mean, it's laughable, but don't touch the money, right? Anyone touch the money, you're gonna get slammed in that slammer for years on end. But rape a child, rape a woman, or even a man. I mean, men get raped too. It's horrendous. Just that men don't actually talk about it.
Yeah.
Very few men actually talk about it because the shame in that is so much bigger. And I want to tell you, that is something that I think would be a next big step, is for men to start talking about these shames. But that, I think, is something that'll happen in time.
I think it is. Yeah. I run the channel Handing the Shame Back. Nothing like the size of your platform, but I think we've got over 3,000 subscribers now. And every fortnight, I interview a male survivor. So men are stepping forward now.
That's amazing. Yeah, but I must say, I'm impressed with the Australian men, especially the Australian men, because there have been a lot of them that have been trafficked and in these boys' homes that have stepped forward, but not so many of the others. South Africans, oh gosh, it's going to be hell's going to freeze over before those dudes step forward.
100%.
100%. Yeah, it's crazy, but yeah, I think it's a great time, Gloria, to be doing these things, and really, I think your initiative is fantastic. That you guys are going to be doing on the 16th of June. We'll definitely keep everyone posted about that.
I'll say, yes, and I don't mean to be secret squirrel, but we've just been asked to choose a release date and do it, and that's what you do with Global Awareness Days. Apparently, you have to do that. You have to have a certain time and day. But I think you'll love it. I don't think it'll be a surprise. And in fact, I know that it's been used. There was a young man. He was about 22 years old, African-American. He was at a Wendy's over in the States, the Wendy's restaurants. You heard of them? Yeah.
Yeah.
And he saw this 11-year-old, what he thought was an 11-year-old girl with this man. And this man would have been mid-30s, mid to late 30s. And our young hero, he looked up and he saw this girl and he saw her signaling to him. And he thought, oh, is she in trouble? Anyway, the man that she was with dropped a serviette or something. So he said to her, "Are you okay?" And she went, "No." And he went, "Right." So he got up out of his seat, went round the corner, phoned the cops and said, "I think we've got a child that's been trafficked." And the police said, "Stay there, keep them there." And so he thought, "Oh, well, how the hell am I going to do that?" So went back to his table and he spotted a couple of guys at another table. I think they were probably a bit older. And he went over to them and he said, "Don't make a scene, but this young girl's in trouble. I think she's been trafficked and the police are coming, but can you help me? If I grab her, can you hold him down?" And they said, "Absolutely." So he went up to the table and he went to speak to the guy, and the guy immediately went to stand. Our young hero, grabbed the girl. The other two guys grabbed the guy and pushed him to the ground and kept him there, and he saved that girl's life. So I'm just saying, things like this are happening, and they're happening every day in South Africa, in America, everywhere in the world.
South Africa, are you kidding me? Nothing bad ever happens here. You've got to be joking.
So what's your government doing? Is there anything happening over there?
Oh my gosh! Don't even joke about Aga. We are the joke of the planet. I mean, seriously, we're the joke of the planet. Cyril Ramaphosa. No, I mean the corrupt as hell. Power cuts from here to next week. But yeah, there's a lot of honestly, when it comes to the general public, the African people are a lot more awake than the European people in South Africa or the Caucasian people. A lot more awake. When it comes to taking the jab and stuff like that, it was the average white person that would take the jab. African people are like, "You've got to be kidding me," because of course in the apartheid era, they were using the smallpox vaccine to jab them with AIDS, because the intention was to wipe out the continent.
To eradicate, yeah.
Yeah, and of course that didn't happen. So, there's a lot of, our leaders are completely bought, and there's corrupt as hell. But other than that, we still carry on. We're quite a positive bunch.
I guess I meant in terms of child sexual abuse. What are there any initiatives happening?
There's a lot of people that are doing things, sort of like you'll get a lot of like Pixie Pink. She was actually on my channel not a couple of months ago. She does a lot she doesn't deal with satanic ritual abuse or stuff like that, but just general. And she's actually an amazing lady, Pixie Pink. And she pretty much deals with everyday cases, and it's horrendous because there's a lot of unregistered births. So it's not through organized crime as much as what it is, but because the poverty rate in South Africa is so high. And remember, in the apartheid era, you never saw white people that were living under the breadline. You did see white people who were poor, but they were not living under like the breadline. Now that's changed a lot. So they're selling their kids. These kids get sold to lawyers. I mean, there was a case the other day where a 12 or 13-year-old girl was sold to a lawyer in one of these towns. Parents are just selling their babies. And, she says it's to all these rich people, and she can't understand why they're buying these kids. So I kind of filled her in on a few home truths as to why the rich people are buying these kids. There's a lot of poverty, and there's a lot of unregistered births of both African and white skin colors. Yeah. So, over here, it's like, really, that's because the whites have always been in a position of power. Yeah. Of course, the African people have not had the money or the spending power, so they've been at their most vulnerable, and the colored people as well. So there's a lot of that, make no mistake. We see it a lot, but generally the general public still likes to turn a blind eye. They like to pray. And we'll pray for you. We'll pray for you. We'll pray for you. We'll pray for you.
Good luck with that one. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, and I think too, I think unless it happens to, you know, I've put out this saying, I think you'll love it. People say, why do you keep talking about child sexual abuse? And I said, ask me that when it's your child or grandchild I save.
Yeah. Well, exactly. There is that, you know, there is definitely that. There's always...
Until it more people personally, eh? But...
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, is there anything else from New Zealand that you want to share with us, Gloria?
There isn't really. Yeah, it is what it is. You know, I think throughout New Zealand and across the world, we've got good people and we've got people that aren't good people. And I think there's always going to be a cross section, but we've got to hold the hope and we've got to hold the light. And I think as long as we can do that with the right intent, then we're helping.
Indeed.
That's it.
Well, I look forward to seeing the results of your initiative.
Thank you.
And we will certainly be promoting that here for you on this channel as well.
I appreciate that, and I'll keep in touch with specific videos, etc., as they come through, so that you've got them.
Yeah, exactly. Good. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you. I'll see you later again on Solutions with Bryce. What's happening tomorrow? Tomorrow we have Kerry Saint from Australia. Joanne, you're such a star. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you. We've got Kerry Saint from Australia, who's going to be talking about adoptive parents who kill. Kerry Saint is another advocate for the Australian adoptees as well. And then again, Lera Nikolaev, who is the, she's now not a child anymore, but she was trained by the Russians to be a double agent. She's a Ukrainian and has had some fascinating, incredible experiences. She's a seer as well. So she gives us a lot of information, and especially when it comes to the Russians, because my, these guys have got all the blood iniquity in Russia. It's all about blood iniquity, guys. That's where they get their power, not through their missiles and crap. That's just a ruse. It's all about all these deals they've made with the devil in eons gone by as well. Very interesting times we're living in, lots of things being exposed. So keep your wits about you. Stay connected. All I can say is just stay connected, stay aligned with God, and you can't go wrong. And that's the bottom line. And then there'll be angels like Gloria and co who come around and help kids. Awesome. Yay. Awesome, Gloria. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you. Take good care. Like, share, subscribe, please, guys. We'll be definitely putting more information of this on the channel in future. Okay.